Critters in Taiwan.
I was like I told you, I was listening to the very end of it, you know, and I was like trying to sort things out, like what's going on here, and I still don't know. Like I it'll come out in rollies, but
Okay.
there's I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen them in like 2 months.
Yeah.
Even with a little bit of like no four-sided dive, and then also just like
We get one tomorrow. We get the four-sided dive tomorrow.
Okay, cool. That'll help me out a bit, especially for our next cast, whenever the fuck that is.
This was a tough one, right? Because like so much of this episode also was out of character. They're all playing as players, and a lot of the conversations were as players. So that threw me for a bit. You know what I mean? A lot of it was conversations above table, like a lot of above table conversations.
Oh, like they're just not speaking in character type.
They're
of thing?
not speaking in character. They're talking, hey, well, maybe you should go and do this thing. And okay, but then if we do that, then this happens. And then they're like, well, yeah, but I've got the thing that I can do. And it's like a lot of table talk, right? And yeah.
I guess I didn't really notice that because I was kind of on
There's
the
a
same
lot.
page.
Well, this whole episode was just combat. The entire thing was just combat. One long, big, 3 maps.
Yeah.
One big, long combat. Combat with 3 initiatives. It was long.
Can we just call them mats?
Mats.
Combat
Did you go
mats?
back? Did you go back and watch that video that he uploaded on
did.
Instagram? That shit is so cool, man.
It was cool.
I could watch that all day. Watch him just building, and then they do the post when it's all done, and then the battle cam zooms in and looks. Oh, it's so cool.
They should do that every episode.
Every
They
map.
really should.
I want that for
every map.
Maybe not every single map, but I want to see the big ones. Like I definitely want to see him put together the Malleus Key. I want to see him put together the Feywild, that big Feywild Malleus Key. Yeah, I want to see all those big maps.
I mean, he's doing it anyway. Put up a camera. Put
Yeah.
up 2. You know, like just. Because like, it was nice to see him, like, he's putting up all these things, because, like, this is from the doppelganger trial thing, right?
The 3rd trial, yeah.
So he had all these things, and then once he got those in place, he moved a couple of things, and then he put the things together to complete the puzzle.
Yeah.
It was really great to see, even if it was in a time lapse, you know?
Yeah, I want to see a time lapse. I don't want to see it real time. That's boring. I want to see it time lapse, watch it all. Yeah, that's so cool.
And we probably don't want to hear Matthew talking to himself during it as well. Spoilers everywhere, I'm sure.
But it's that way after the fact, though, right? So if you've already,
Well, you know, perhaps, because sometimes things don't happen that he may have planned for, you know.
True.
And if he's anything like me, if I'm working by myself, I'm constantly in conversation with myself. I don't know about you. But
Not so much.
I think, well, you know, you don't necessarily live alone. You can talk to animals. You can talk to Jade. I live alone. I talk to myself all the time.
Ben, what are you doing over here? Why are you doing that?
You have another animal named Ben?
What? What? Huh? Who said what now?
Hey, we're on the internet, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah, forget about it.
Hey, are we on the internet?
We sure are, bud.
Welcome to Critters in Taiwan, a D&D podcast about Critical Role, where a bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons and Dragons. I am Ben and Gaosheng.
I'm Tim and Taijong. I nailed it that time.
Taiwan. Hey, you actually got your name and place.
I practiced today.
Yeah. All right.
How long have we been out? 3 weeks. We've been
3
off.
weeks. 3 weeks. December something. It's 2024.
Feels like 2 months. Like I had my weigh on Friday, you know, so we go out. For people who don't know what a weigh is, in Taiwan, there's like a Chinese New Year. You have a party with your school that you work at. You're in a lucky draws to the business. Let's call it what it is. And you're up for prizes. We had a live band. It's just like a bunch of food and everybody's drinking, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, so I didn't have any time to watch this episode, listen to this episode on Friday. Saturday was a write-off because I was up until 8 o'clock in the morning talking to my mom on the phone. And then finally on Sunday I was like, oh, okay, I got to get to this episode. I got to do my work before Tuesday.
It was a good one. It was a good episode. I really enjoyed this one. It was great fun. You know me. I like me and my combats. It's a good one.
Ben loves his combats.
Yep.
I find myself thinking about other things during combat sometimes, and I'm like, no, Tucker, focus.
Yeah. It's fun for me. I like watching that stuff. It's the D&D, because I mean, honestly, I think I've said this before. It's the D&D that I grew up with. Like the second edition when I was a kid playing back in the 80s, that's what we lived for. We didn't really know how to RP because we were kids. Right. So what we were really doing, a game. We're just playing a game, and we're like marching across the battlefield, and the DM was throwing monsters at us, and we're like, moving around and exploring dungeons. There was a lot of dungeon crawls back then.
Yeah, like a game from the 80s. Yeah,
right. Like a board game. That's kind of what it was, right? What's my computer? There we go.
Almost exactly what it was. Even video games back then. They're like, hey, how do we make this interesting? Throw some enemies at them. There we go.
Right. So anyway, this one. Let's get right into it here, man. We're talking about episode number 82, the first of the new year. Rush for the Bloody Bridge. Okay,
right on the nose.
Again, yeah.
As they have been, except for that one that was mislabeled.
Right, the mislabeled. That's a fun one. So
we have 2 episodes called On the Eve of the Red Moon, right?
Yeah.
And we are going to change the other one. We just haven't yet. We're gonna, but we'll get to that. So
we'll get to it. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Just look at the number. The number makes sense.
80, 81, I believe.
Because they didn't fix it until after we posted. So we just have to be like, just go back in there and fix it up.
Yeah, we do this. We record this on Tuesday nights, and they didn't change that until they put the title out Monday in Pacific time, Monday nights. When they upload it to YouTube, which is Tuesday morning for us, we record Tuesday nights. They didn't change it until the next day, which is kind of funny, but yeah. Somebody made a mistake.
We did I immediately addressed it because you told me the name, and I was like, well, that's a little presumptuous.
Doesn't make any sense because they didn't actually go to the moon.
No, there's nothing indicating that they're going to the moon tomorrow.
No.
And so it was a little strange. And we were like, yeah, that is a little strange, but I guess it's foreshadowing, railroaded foreshadowing, I suppose.
We get our first, as I said before, we get our first 4-sided dive of the year. It's a weird one. They said Marisha announced at the beginning. I don't know if you were paying attention or not, but she said new forest D next week or next Wednesday, whatever it is, Tuesday. Jesus,
must have missed it.
Says at the beginning, and she's like with a special guest.
I did hear that part, but I didn't hear the 4-sided dive.
Right. So after all of this other stuff came up, I went onto the Crit Roll page, and it says who the special guest is.
Oh,
it's Abubakar Salim, the dude that did the Comic-Con. Well, he's actually got a lot of Critical Role accolades. Yeah, he's the voice of Zanror from Legend of Vox Machina.
Oh, there we go.
Grog's cousin. And I didn't know this. I looked this up on his IMDb page. He was also father in, I did not realize this, father in Raised by Wolves. Did you ever watch Raised by Wolves?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a Ridley Scott TV show. I think it did 2 seasons. Really amazing sci-fi. It's a Ridley Scott, like Alien guy. He did.
That's right. I know that name. Okay.
Right. Alien, Prometheus, all those awesome bunch of other amazing ones.
Space-fi movies.
So he did this movie about this child who was sent to a alien planet and raised by 2 murder bots, cyborgs, androids,
like FCG.
Cyborgs. Yeah, but except they're not like that. But yes, they are. So they were the wolves, and this child was raised by them. And not to get too many spoilers into it, but this child is special, and many reasons why. And then all the rest of the other hunters in the universe the galaxy are looking for them. And it's quite good. He played the father. I did not recognize him at all, but yeah. Anyway,
it happens, man. Yeah, when Utkarsh was on the episode, they're like, and Utkarsh is here.
Yeah,
and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? He looks very comfortable, and he was very comfortable, and he played the part extremely well.
Yep.
I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I didn't recognize him, and then I looked back and I saw a few movies where I definitely had seen him.
Right.
Yeah, and I sent you a message being like, hey, that's him right there. And you're like, duh, Tucker, come on. like, why don't you recognize this fella?
I'm not sure why he's the special guest, but it might have something to do with my assumption that LOVM 3 is coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
It's possible. Maybe just he's in the States and they want to return the favor for him doing the thing in London. So he's coming back to do, I don't know. But anyway, so that segues us into the next point, which is why I found his name in the first place. And that is because they announced that there will not be an episode this week of Critical Role. There are some people who some cast members, unannounced, we don't know who they are, that are sick. So they are taking a sick day this week, which is odd because everything is pre-recorded. So how do you take a sick day when everything is pre-recorded? Fair enough. But what it means is they did Candela Obscura last week.
This is made out of tinfoil.
Okay. They did Candela Obscura last week. They did this episode number 82 this week. If they don't have one next week or this coming weekend, that means they don't do one, and they don't do one the following week because it's the fourth week of the last week of the month. That means we get one episode in January of 2024.
You know what? That's
lame.
Because
that's lame.
You know what? Yeah, because if you take a sick day, what do you do?
You have a makeup day.
You make up that day.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Or you switch your schedule with somebody else. Maybe that's just the Taiwan mentality.
Right.
You make it up. So maybe this month they should have that last week where it's like, hey, we actually have one banked anyway.
Right.
You know, which, again, that tinfoil hat didn't stay on. I'm calling bullshit. I know I'm sure I'm wrong, but it's like if you have episodes
Something
banked,
is going on. Something's going on. Like if they have episodes banked and they're not using them, or if they haven't had episodes banked, why can't they just take a week off and then bank a whole bunch?
Right.
Like that's the
being
way
sick one week shouldn't affect the normal schedule, right? Because if they recorded
Something
1 week before,
something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
You know what I'm saying?
So
it's like you could still have an episode play this week just because they were sick that time.
Right.
They've recorded since then, I'm sure.
You'd think so.
Or you would think so. And
Or
that's
they
where the tin hat. Yeah.
They haven't for other reasons. There might be some things that we don't. There's clearly things we don't know about, and they might be bad. Now,
bro, real quick, like maybe, and again, this is tinfoil hat. Is that like, oh, they just want to make sure that it seems like they're more live, so they're going to say like, no, we are sick this week, so we won't have an episode this week. When they are absolutely perfectly fine this week, but they want to make it seem like they're more live and more recent than some people are expecting.
That's an interesting
tinfoil
way of
hat
thinking about
off.
it. But here's
and I don't believe what I just said.
Here's a wrench in that monkey. They're doing an episode. They're live streaming. So they're not they're not recording this one. They are live streaming an episode Thursday night.
Like making characters on Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate 3. So Sam, Travis, somebody, I forget who, four of them are making characters. Robbie, Travis, Sam, Ashley? Might be Ashley.
Okay.
I forget. Might be Laura. I forget who it is.
I mean, if Travis is there, I imagine Laura would be there.
Right. It might be Laura. It might be 4 or 5 of them. Taliesin might be in there as well. I don't remember. But it's suspiciously, it's not Matt and Marisha. And it's not, I guess it's not Taliesin as well. I forget. I don't remember. I have the webpage pulled right up here. It's right there.
If Matt is not there, I imagine Marisha's not there. Because if they're as sick as need be to take the time off, having the sniffles is fine.
Travis Willingham, Robbie Damon, Taliesin Jaffe, and Sam Riegel for a live stream as they gather around in their comfiest clothes to make their Bell's Hells characters using the Baldur's Gate 3 character builder. Baldur's Gate 3 character builder.
Alabama.
That's Alabama. That's going to be fun. Put on your socks.
Of course, I want to check it out. But
it'll be fun to watch. But that's weird, right? It's clearly not something serious. Otherwise, they would be doing something. They wouldn't be doing it.
Right. They'd be with them in the hospital, right? Now it makes sense to me now that the couples are not there.
Yes.
Because like if one gets sick, the other one probably gets sick, and like I don't know if it has anything to do with COVID-related bullshit.
There, but Laura's not.
Oh, you did say Travis. That's right.
Yeah, Travis, Taliesin, Sam. What did I say? Taliesin, Travis, Robbie, Taliesin, Sam.
Yeah.
The four guys.
Big old sausage
No
fest.
Liam, no Laura, no Marisha, no Matt.
Right.
Robbie,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird.
Which is great. I'd love to see
Yeah,
Robbie
it
again.
is.
I miss that
It
guy.
is.
Huh. Yeah, so that's what's happening this week, and
Yes.
of course, what that means is we're not gonna talk about that until we have an episode coming up next,
Right.
Which might lead into the next thing that
It
Ben
does.
has to say.
So I'm going to Thailand on Friday for a month. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to Thailand for almost for 2 weeks, and then Vietnam for a week and a bit, and then I'll be back in February. So it's not quite a month. It's like 3 weeks and a bit. So funny enough, Tim and I were talking about this a couple of days ago, and we're like, okay, maybe I can cast from. I'm going up to the north part of Thailand to meet my brother and my mom. So I could definitely do a remote thing from there. But we're like, okay, well, how does that work? We have to figure out it's only an hour time difference, not a big deal. It's going to be hard for me to find time to watch these episodes because I'm, family stuff.
He's on vacation.
I'm on vacation. I'm up in the mountains in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, might not
How
have
am I going to do
internet,
this?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, maybe not have time. And then this comes up, and I'm like, hey, they were the universe karma, serendipity or whatever they call it. Serendipity doodah.
It's because they all watched the show and they understood, like, oh, well, let's do this for Ben. Because they are the #1 show that talks about our show.
You got to get a new tinfoil hat.
It's not even made out of tinfoil, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him
Hey,
slip
dude.
that in there.
We've been talking about this for too long. Let's get into some things because I don't have much to say about this episode. This was a lot of combat in this episode.
Yeah.
It was a lot of let's just do some rollies and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, not a lot really happens during battle except for
A lot happens during battle.
Well, a ton, yeah, but the nitty gritty as far as
Right.
rules and things like that. And
Events in battle dictate what the role playing is,
Sure.
and vice versa.
and in particular outcomes,
Yes. Yep.
and yeah. Anyway, so let's just get some rollies.
One of my notes at the end of my first page of random shit, it just says madness. Too many cooks. I don't even know why I wrote that.
I think I know why. I think it's gonna come up in a.
Sure. Well, it's right about the 1 hour mark. So who knows?
Oh,
Hey,
shit.
I got a math. Oh, what?
I didn't push the rollies button yet. You had mentioned to me in a private message about the AI perhaps for Mr. Thordak.
Oh, right. We should talk about that for a hot minute. All right, fine. I wanted to. This is interesting because I rewatched Legend of
I
Vox Machina
apologize for
season 2.
forgetting his name.
God damn it! Now I forget. The actor from John Wick. He was the concierge at the hotel. What is his name?
On the spot, it's impossible, man.
Voice of Thordak. Now I have to go back in your messages.
I'm doing the same.
Let's see who gets it first.
This is good TV right here.
Yep. No. There it is.
You're going way faster.
Lance Reddick.
Damn it, that's the one. Yeah.
So Lance Reddick passed away last year, which is a
Rest in
blow
peace.
to the VO community because he's and the acting community and just everybody. It's sad. But he was the voice of Thordak. The rumor is that he has already done all of the voice stuff for season 3. That's sort of the rumor that's going around, that it's already all of the stuff's already been taken care of anyway. It's already been recorded. But it got me thinking about AI, and the there. Did you see the George Carlin special that got released last week?
I didn't see the special. I saw his daughter's response to it.
Yeah, she did not like it, and I watched it, and it's not good. Some of the jokes are funny. So just for those of you who don't know, some dude created a brand new George Carlin's. He's been dead since 2010 or something, 15 years now.
Yeah.
So he's been dead for a while. He passed on. But somebody used AI to recreate his voice. They basically plugged in all of his specials and recreated his voice with all new material, all new jokes, the delivery and the voice and the commentary is spot on. It's not particularly funny. Some of it made me chuckle. It's not very hilarious, but it is bang on.
How long is it?
It's like an hour. It's
Huh.
crazy. Yeah, it's 40 minutes. I think I forget what it is. It's
easy to
a
find? Is it a
full special.
download thing,
It's
or-
on YouTube. It's
Oh.
fully available on YouTube.
I have to check that
so-
out after this.
This is the first sort of, I know that deep fakes are a real thing, but this is the first time I've really seen one like this. And so it got me thinking about if we've just got all these people's voices, like you've got Lance, and I mean the voice of Thordak with Lance Reddick, it was so heavily filtered anyway to get that low guttural growl that why can't you just use AI to recreate it anyway, or anyone's voice for that matter? It got me thinking about a lot of stuff for animation and voice acting and all of this stuff. I'm like, what are they doing here?
Hold on.
This is a big part of what the writers' strike and the actors' strike was last year. Why they went on strike was because of the big part of it was the AI stuff. But
the guy from The Wire. That's it. I was confusing. I had confused with
Omar.
a different show.
Yeah.
Nope, not Omar. He was the commissioner.
Lance Reddick?
Cedric Daniels.
Oh, the
he was captain.
Wasn't he the
He was the one running the operation. Of The
right?
Wire.
Wasn't he the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No.
That's a different guy.
That's a different guy, but he also
Okay.
passed.
Yeah, I don't watch.
much more
I
recently.
love The Wire. I didn't really watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
I don't.
But it's
know.
pretty easy to confuse their voices because they both have very similar. That
Right.
deep
That
kind of
might. Yeah, that
deadpan
baritone.
kinda, yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to talk for a quick second about that, about what the implications for AI are. Air.
And that's when that my shitty ass orange fucking Halloween bucket hat went on. It's like maybe they're saying, "Oh no, we already did record his voice for this." Be like, "Oh, did you?"
Yeah.
Or are you gonna use AI to get that shit done?
Well, again, like I said, they're not really allowed to because that was the whole actors' strike and the SAG strike and all that shit was that they went on strike to stop the studios from using AI.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, if Howie Mandel, well, Bruce Willis famously has put all of his likeness into AI.
Oh yeah.
Because he can't act anymore, right? He's in a real bad way. So he's used all of his likeness, all of his voice, everything. He signed it over to an AI company. Howie Mandel did the exact same thing, signed all of his stuff over. So if these guys willingly do it and they sign off on it, or an actor is dead and his estate signs off on
Perhaps willingly, nillily.
it. And so what does that mean? Are they not allowed to use it at all, even if they're allowed to use it?
Well, if they have the rights to it, that's
Sure.
I mean, that money goes to the estate and the family, right?
You think so?
It's just like a one-time payoff, and now we just have your likeness for the rest of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, with Bruce Willis, that's a big payout, man.
Yeah,
You
think so?
Howie Mandel, maybe half of Bruce Willis's. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, he's you gotta, like, we don't watch it, but he's on the what's that, the
Doors
the talent
and
the talent and the X's and the golden button thing. What's that one?
yeah, he's on all these shows. Yeah,
all these shows. Yeah, whatever they are. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do rollies now. I'm tired. I want to get some rollies in.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
We should
That's
probably
done.
talk about
That's
episode
taken
number
care
82.
of. Okay, anything else beforehand? No. My Matt die won, so I'm going to win the first rollie. Here we go.
Sure you are.
As always.
15.
5. God damn it.
Okay. Okay. I want to get your opinion on something that happened at the very beginning and that got brought up about 5 times throughout the episode. At the very beginning, at the very beginning of this, it crawled. Holy fuck, did it ever crawl? They were paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
Like this was the classic D&D thing where everyone's like, what do we do? We got so many options, too many options. We don't know what to do.
Oh.
We should try this. We should try that. We should try this. So
before the episode started, I believe it was Liam, either Liam or Sam that said that, like, oh yeah, of course we spent the last 3 weeks preparing for this episode.
Right.
I think that was Liam.
And it definitely showed.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, like, Marisha and Laura were super into. So again, like I said before, there was a lot of above table comments. A lot of stuff was said out of character that they were like having conversations above the table, which is fine.
Before we started,
as it was during before we announced the thing. I think I did. Yeah. I don't know.
We were live.
I don't know.
No, okay.
You don't tell me we're live until we're like 30 minutes into live. I have no idea. So anyway, there's a lot of above table conversation, which drives me crazy. But in this situation, I'm okay with it because there was so much. It's so much planning and so much stuff going on. They had to figure this out. They wanted to kite the tents. Like grab the tents and bail them in. And immediately my brain went, no, this is a very, very bad idea.
Why is
do
that?
not do this. Okay, I think Sam and Liam realized it the same or visioned it the same way I did. There's a giant distraction going on. Everybody's freaking the fuck out. And suddenly a tent drifts into the middle of the excavation. There's
so
sitting
stupid.
ducks. There's sitting ducks. Everybody's going to be like, open fire. And everything gets launched at them. I mean, but that was just my thought. So I'm curious because it got brought up. I think I wrote down like 3 times. There's like, we could have used the tents, guys. I'm telling you, man, the tents would have worked. We could have done it. Like, I think it gets brought up a bunch more times in the episode as they're like circling their way down. What do you think? Would it have worked?
Every time it was fucking refuted pretty well, like we're in a sandstorm. These things are bolted down pretty well, so it's going to take some time to get it up for one. And for two, it's like, man, this isn't elementary school when you make that parachute out of a tissue,
Right. I literally did that experiment a couple of weeks ago with my students. It's a staple. It's a staple. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Get a GI army dude, little army dude, and just put a tissue on it.
Yes,
without tearing the
Yep.
I had the idea, the same thing that you did. It's like the other level 20 motherfuckers are setting a diversion up right across this way so that you guys can do your espionage.
Right.
All right. And I have a very good yes and for this.
Kiting down or parachuting down into the pit is not stealthing or espionage. No. That's like full on, hey guys, we're here.
Drawing
look, hey.
Yeah.
So that is literally the reason I sent you that fucking meme of the DM gives you sliced bread, cheese, and ham, and the party makes everything but a sandwich.
That picture was fucking hilarious.
Right. That's that whole fucking meme. I'm just like, it's amazing. Like you just.
I love how the loaf of bread.
The loaf of 2 loaves of bread with a.
There's no cheese in there though.
Yep.
It's just like, dude, I gave.
Cheese.
Oh, there could be. I just didn't see it in the picture. You're like, dude, I gave you cheese. Nope. Don't need it. I just need a ton of bread.
Yep.
That one slayed me.
I know. So anyway, that's my first point. Is I'm just like, there's no way. But I think there's a part of me. So I'm just going to throw this last little caveat in there. When they suggested it, the look on Matt's face was like,
I didn't see it.
Fuck. I got to get you guys to the moon somehow. So how are we going to make this one work? Okay, let's go.
Yeah. When it was first brought up, I believe it was Marisha that said it.
I think so. And the whole idea, he even said, she's like, no, we'll just make an explosion and then we'll get blown backwards with the tent over the edge. And Matt's like, you're 70 feet away from the edge. But I don't think Marisha heard that because she kept going with it. And I'm like, all I could picture, I was just like, this is going to be like Abbott and Costello or Charlie Chaplin. We're like, they just keep getting moving farther and farther and farther, and then over the edge.
It was also pretty early on where Matthew had said, "I don't know how you guys have survived this long."
Yeah, that was I've got that early. That's in here too. How have you all survived this long? 3 campaigns in a row.
He's been working with these guys for a decade.
Yeah,
and still the question is coming up.
Yep.
And like this particular group, geez. So like the way that I heard it, and I did listen to the whole thing twice. I did eventually get that in, and the very end probably 6 times because I'm trying to figure shit out back there. That'll come up later. Was the first time it was brought up, I was like, okay, interesting. Like I tried to take the Matt approach, it's like, okay, you can certainly try, and then after that, I didn't take any of the suggestions seriously. Because I was like, no, that's the stupidest idea you could do, right? They're rolling stealth things. They're doing
Totally.
pass without a trace, and if you're gonna try to kite down a tent, that's the opposite. Basically, what you were saying. So everything after that, I was like, no, of course I just took it as a joke, even though there was no laughter behind it. I was just like, okay, that's obviously a joke, because I think the last time it was brought up was towards the end of the episode, as a joke. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think it's maybe. I didn't write it down, but I remember them saying it several times.
Yeah, like four or five times.
Oof.
Like, I think Ashley brought it up at one point. She was like,
Yep.
well, what about that? What if you all get in there and go like, and just move it over when nobody's looking? It's like, this isn't a Looney Tunes cartoon. I mean, it is at times, but this is a pretty serious moment,
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to do something incredibly impactful. I know people argue that impactful is not a word, but fuck yourself.
Liam has a quote as they're walking down, and the Matt is like, okay, you're all in Ruby Vanguard clothing. And he's like, you're going to try and bluff your way, or you're going to try and stealth your way. And Liam full on says, I think this group is better at stealth than deception. And that just sort of caught me as one of those things. I'm like, yeah, that's like big time, because and I don't even think it's because of their particular ability, like as actors, voice actors or otherwise, to be able to convey deception. It's that they've all built these characters to be idiots. They're not. There's no like. That's what
strength in numbers for sure.
Right. And so the stealth stuff. I mean, even Fern is who's her insight is so high,
but
and her ability to read
low,
people
isn't
is
it?
Or
not low, but it's like 10-ish.
Insight isn't charisma. Insight is wisdom.
Oh, okay.
So it's her druids. Druids are wisdom based. So it's
right. Oh yeah, that makes no sense. What I said.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. What you said makes no sense.
Deception is charisma. But that's the other thing, right? Is that the both Laudna and Imogen are both charisma based.
Right.
So their spellcasting modifiers are charisma, both for warlock and sorcerer. So they, yeah. Anyway, they don't. It's weird.
There was
a lot of see that it sort of goes back to like things we've said a long time ago about this group, is that this entire group, every one of them they took wild swings on these characters, and I don't think they hit it out of the park with them. I think that they're just hitting doubles and singles, and they're just advancing around the bases enough. This baseball metaphor's got to stop. But they're just sort of fumbling through it all and not really getting to the brass tacks of what they. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's just it feels like it's not quite a success. And there's literally nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, compared to Vox Machina or Mighty Nine, Bell's Hells feels a little bit more chaotic.
Yep, and it has this whole time. And
it has the whole time.
You'll hear people talking shit about it, and be like, "This doesn't have the same feel as the previous two." It's like, well,
they're suffering. Yeah, it's suffering from their success. They're suffering from a lot of different things. They've got
long ass breaks. For fuck's sake.
Yeah. Like a lot of this stuff is they're not doing themselves any favors with this stuff. But who cares? They've said it time and time again. Matt has made it very clear. This is not for us. This is for the players. We're just along for the ride. So go fuck y'all. I mean, I had a session last weekend where I got to play, and we had a great time. I guarantee you,
were playing for that.
Yeah.
I thought you were DMing.
We did the week before I was DMing. The next week I actually got to play.
So the epic battle with the ambush.
That was my DMing. Yeah, that was the right. And then we got into a really fun battle as a player as well. But that epic ambush battle was a big one. That was fun. I threw a lot of monsters at my party, and they handled it. They handled it very, very, very well.
Nice. You want to see that?
They got well, yes and no. The problem is now, as the Vampire Lord Strahd, now I have to sort of think, oh, these motherfuckers are capable. huh,
How do I step it up?
yeah. No, he's not worried. He's more like, oh, okay. Now these ants are doing what? What are these little fucking ants doing now? Huh, time to get out the raid. Yeah. So it's I got to get myself into that. Anyway, I digress. Let's do another rollie.
All right, not quite yet. We have been quite liberally saying the names of the actors instead of the characters this episode because of what you said before. There was so much talking over the table, and
so much.
When you mentioned it the first time, I was like, and I don't remember if we were live or not when you said this, but I didn't notice it because I was right there with them. You know, I still have my yes and to do, by the way, before Rolly.
Oh, I thought you did it already. Okay, no worries.
This goes right into it as well, because like I was right there with them. I was like, oh, and like everybody was like speaking as the actor, not as the actor, as the person,
as the player,
playing the player,
as the player.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so it didn't faze me at all. I didn't notice it until you had just said it just now.
I noticed it right away. It like I said, it really, really, really happens at a D&D table all the time. Every table that I've been a part of, you get into character, and then these combats happen. And this was multiple combats in a row, 3 maps, all thrown down. It happens. You don't really. It's just inevitable. Yeah. You can't role play in character.
You're playing a game.
That much. You're playing a game. Yeah. So you're talking about things, and it gets to the metagaming pops up, but it's not unwarranted in these situations because it's not really metagaming. It's a little bit of metagaming, but it's a little bit of just trying to figure things out. So it's inevitable. The one thing that bugs me, if you don't mind if I say it, the one thing that does bother me is that what it does is as they're going through rounds, through turns in rounds, it drags on a lot because it means one player's turn can turn into a 15-minute ordeal because of these conversations that happen. And I've actually played at tables where there have been 2 or 3 minute timers where it's like, okay, if you don't act in that 2 or 3 or 4 minute or whatever it is, your character defaults to the dodge action immediately. That's it. You're just in the dodge action. Yeah. You take, or whatever the equivalent might be. So I'm like, it definitely speeds things up. Doesn't leave a lot of room for creativity, but you just have to be a little bit more on the ball. That's all. Anyway, that's all.
Be ready, professional players.
Yeah. All right. What's your yes end?
Well, that brings me into, I need some info. I felt like I was up to speed on what was going on, because I like fairly well remember the conversations they had, with the Vox Machina members, at this meeting they had in the last episode. And they're like, okay. And then I did actually forget that they were actually on the moon at the end of the episode, or was that the first thing that happened in this episode?
That's the very last thing that happens.
Right. So they're there, and that's where we'll pick up next
That's where we'll pick up next week. They land. He says there's a bunch of this one threw me a little bit. There's an Exandria stone mingled with the Ruidus stone and some plant growth going through. As you look up, you see Exandria.
Right.
And that's where we pick up next week. That was literally it.
I meant at the end of the previous episode.
Oh.
Yeah, not this one. Because at the end of the previous episode, I was like, I didn't remember because it's been, 3 years since the last episode?
The 81 ended with them approaching the they were teleported in to the
moon.
To the site.
Right. They got to a place that was fairly close to the site. Right. Yeah.
They got very close. Yeah. And then they got teleported over there.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So that's what it is.
Yes.
Sorry, that's where my mic is. That was probably fucking loud.
That was not bad. They get teleported over there.
So now they're on the moon. That's why they're seeing Exandria in the sky.
You think
they were on the moon the whole time?
No, man. They were at the Malleus Key.
I watched the thing twice. I thought they were. Damn it.
So that's what you're confused about?
Yeah, because that's why I was like, wait, what? They were in the middle of a storm? Yeah, that's always storming up on the moon. That makes sense. Right. Okay.
There was a dust storm around in the excavation site. Even when they were here last time, there was a dust storm.
Wow.
When they had the big epic battle with with Keyleth and Vax gets orbed, and then all
that
shit.
same spot. Yeah,
that's the same spot. That's where they are.
And that's beautiful map with all that stuff that they said that Matt just threw everything that he just has laying around.
Dude, just scattered bombed everything. Is like, whoa, this place has changed a lot in a couple of weeks.
So that's what happened. They went in. They were like, what about these last two people? I'm like, what the hell are they transporting to?
Allura and Keyleth both said, Allura and Keyleth and Percy all said, they're like, there's no way this is the only way we know how to get onto the moon is through the Malleus Key on the Bloody Bridge. Yeah. To get there, you have to get to this spot and get elevated up.
You have to get to the Bloody Road or whatever they call it.
Bloody Bridge.
That's what I said.
It's a weird name, you know, the Bloody Bridge.
Yeah, anti-flow,
I get it.
Whatever.
I get it. I get it that it's like it's a needle. And it's red because the moon is red, but I do not understand why you'd call it the Bloody Bridge. There's so many. I don't like the.
It's a blood moon, perhaps.
I guess
because it's red.
It's a crimson. The Crimson Road. Yeah. I think would be like
well, this might just be colloquial shit from people that are around it. You know,
the Burgundy Boulevard. Wouldn't that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's my favorite so far. Shit, man. So that clears a lot of shit up. Okay, I'm like sitting there like, I thought they were on the moon the whole time, and then they're transporting somewhere else.
When you texted me over the weekend, you're like, I don't understand what's going on here. I'm like, what do you mean?
Lost.
I'm looking at the message. I'm like, yeah, what is it? What doesn't understand here? Okay, sure.
At the end of the episode, they're like, you look up and about a quarter of the sky, which is also kind of hard to picture, a quarter of the sky. Like, okay, if you put circles or whatever into the sky, you can see Exandria. And I was like, well, yeah, they could have done that any time.
Right.
That was my thought. It's like they could have just looked up and seen it any time. So now it's calm enough so they can actually see the sky. That's what I was confused about.
The descriptor, the just like to carry on that path, the descriptor that he used for how quickly. So like Exandria is a large planet. It's like I figure about the size of Earth because based on like the four major continents. Like okay, it's probably a pretty big planet. And then you're like, well, the Katha is the big one, and Ruidus is the small one. But if Exandria is only filling about a quarter of the sky, they're really fucking far.
Yeah,
like that's a huge distance from Exandria to Ruidus.
And Ruidus is also farther.
And the way he described it was like it happens in an instant. Like that's some fucking crazy magic. I was expecting them to go, and a couple of minutes go by, he watches everything fades, but no, it's like whoop, there. Like that's pretty wild. That surprised me. I was expecting it to be much slower transportation.
It was, what was it? I believe it was Vox Machina at the end, where like he was like, "And you're all falling." You know, he just says that, and you're just like falling, but it was kind of peaceful or something. Right. It really reminded me of Final Fantasy VII, which is, I mean, hey, spoilers everywhere if you're new here. Then you're welcome, but fucking everything's gonna get spoiled. They all just start falling after, at the end, and then they all kind of gently land on something. That's what it reminded me of. So yeah, fuck, what was I gonna say? I was confused about where they were because of the title of the previous episode, The Eve of the Red Moon.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this one, they're not on the moon. And I was like, how did the last one end? What did I miss? When did they actually get to the moon? I see. That's why I was confused. Because I assumed that they started on the moon this time because the last one was Eve, and now we're it's Christmas now. We're at the fucking tree. Santa Claus is here. Let's do it. This entire time until this moment.
And with this sick day that they're taking this week, it looks like we may not find out for a while.
Yeah, we're just gonna we've landed on the moon now. I just learned.
It's very frustrating.
Jeez. Well, I guess it's rolly time now that things have cleared up, eh?
All right, let's do some rollies.
Let's do it.
Okay.
With a 7.
Ooh, 18.
You're wasting your high numbers, bro.
I know. So I'm gonna. The 2 MPs. I've got that done. Oh,
I think I got all my heavy shit out of the way. All the rest is just like little shit.
I'd like to do a quick little thing about the new Rylorans. We met 2 new Ryloran soldiers in this episode. We met the Thought Eater, I believe is his name, which is hella fucking cool.
That was the
That's
one that was up top. That was just like
floating
telepathically.
one that was super intelligent one.
Like
But
Matthew simply said, you get the sense that they are telling people what to do telepathically.
Yes,
It's just like, oh, we just get the sense. Thanks, Matt.
I'd like to talk for a quick moment about the Ryloran Shrikes. These ones were hella cool. The scorpion vibe to them. So as soon as he said the word Shrike, I'm like, well, I know what those are. We have Shrikes where I grew up. So like we had these little birds.
Oh, it's an actual right.
They're like little sparrow-sized birds. They're small, but what they do is they hunt like insects and so little maybe frogs, small frogs, and maybe even mice. Small things like small little things that they can eat.
Sounds fairly brutal.
And what they do is they do. There's a couple of different things they do. They impale them onto thorns on thorn bushes.
These actual little birds that you grew up with. These birds,
they go out, they catch an insect, like a grasshopper or a little mouse or a frog or something, and then they impale it. They grab it and then they impale it onto a thorn. And they do a couple of things. The male will go, if the female has chicks, he'll go off and do that for a whole bunch, and then as the chicks need them, he'll start bringing the carcasses up for the chicks to eat. Also, what they do
sounds romantic.
They use they don't have particularly, they're just small little birds. They don't have particularly strong beaks or feet. So they use the thorn as a butcher hook to rip the pieces off the animal so they can eat it.
Jeez.
Yeah. So like I've seen these birds in action on the farm where I grew up. I remember seeing hawthorn bushes and they'd be like grasshoppers and things impaled on them. And I'm like, what the hell? And then you're like, oh no, that's what birds do. Little fucking dinosaurs stick meat on thorns for later. It's really neat. So that's all. I literally just wanted to say that because when Matt was like talking about, oh yeah, these guys are terrifying, like the birds, they're terrifying. I'm like,
they're big for one, and they're shrikes for two.
The Rylorans
in the game,
in game, yes, they were like creepy with those, it got me thinking about the creativity involved with how telepathic and telekinetic they all are, and that ability to have these chains that are flowing around and send them out. The chains go flying out, and like the chains are different material and different make. Just really cool, really, really, really creative, really neat. Really, it got me excited. It was very cool. That's all.
So those are the ones with the by Scorpion, I mean Mortal Kombat Scorpion.
Mortal Kombat Scorpion
chain thing.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Get over here.
Yeah. But they were birds, sort of, but they had the
Yeah. So the Rylorans were called Shrikes after. Now, I think they're named that after the birds because they impale it's like a harpoon, right? They impale them on the hooks and then bring them over. I think that's and the Thought Eater. I think like the Juggernaut. I'm sure they don't call them these things on Ruidus. I'm sure that that's not the name they give themselves. They don't call themselves Shrikes or Juggernauts or Thought Eaters. That's just what he's calling them for, NPC sort of things. This is what the monster manual would call them. But,
yeah. And also that's not really like the characters don't know what they are.
No.
Like, oh, that's a Shrike. Like,
yeah. Calling them this for ease of naming, so that like that's a thing you sort of do is that you name a monster and then you show you tell the characters the name so they don't say I'd like to go after the big green goblin thing. That's actually an ogre.
Oh, the Shrike.
Call that an ogre. Or yeah, exactly right.
I think I think it was either Liam or Taliesin that was like, oh, Shrikes are nasty, man. Like what you were just describing. Like they're pretty vicious from the sounds of it.
Yes.
All right, well then, let me launch into one, if I may.
Go.
Okay. I want to give Sam some accolades here. I've been recorded saying like, Laura, take it easy, you know. Again, she's always trying to get away with something. She's always trying to argue something. She's always like trying to get an extra buck or something like that. And it's like, yeah, it's part of the game. And Matthew does say frequently, he's like, hey, if you never said anything, you never know what you're gonna get, you know. And she's always doing this. And what Sam said to Laura when she was like, guidance, he was like, it doesn't work that way. And she's like, yes, it does. You can just use guidance. And then like, she might be using the example of like a Song of the Lorelei, you know, way back in the day.
Yes.
It's like the first time I ever saw guidance constantly, right?
TJ Storm, I believe his name was constantly dropping it out there. Yeah, I was like, that's
like,
where they got it from. So it's like Sam finally had enough of it, right? And he finally says, he's like, no, it only lasts.
It's my longest point right there, because I have not verbatim what he said, but I have the conversation right there.
It only lasts 6 seconds, and he's already going away, and he's already doing this, and blah, blah, blah.
You have to touch him. It lasts only 6 seconds. It doesn't work that way, Laura. And she's like, yes, it does. And he's like, no, it doesn't. And then she's like,
yeah. Like it's like
just ends with a pout.
Even chat was like, there was some mentions in chat about that. Okay, they're finally sort of putting even Sam, like Matt doesn't have to keep putting his thumb down and saying no, you can't do this. It's like, no, because you can't. Guidance is situational. It's not a blanket.
Like, guidance, just because I have it means I can use it.
Panacea?
Wait, Carlos Panacea.
What's the thing where it's like a cure-all? I think it's called a panacea. Like it's just it covers everything. It's like a medicine that just covers everything. Guidance is not that. It doesn't work that way. No.
Pangea.
No.
Dinosaurs. I'm off the rails.
Yep. Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Yes, it does. It's like, I have to touch them. It only lasts 6 seconds.
6 seconds.
And I'm sitting there just like, good for you, Sam.
Yep.
You know, like,
guidance
we're all friends here, but.
Right. And then the other thing about guidance is, I kind of forget, I was going to look this up, which I should still look up. I'm fairly certain it's, where is it? Blah, 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 blah.
Like Song of the Lorelei, they were right next to each other the whole time. That makes sense.
You can totally. This weird. You absolutely can use it all the time. Like you can be like, you're trying to check for traps. You're trying to like perceive things. Guidance.
Yeah.
But
if you're sitting in front of somebody that you're trying to deceive.
It is verbal. I'm just looking this up. It's verbal and somatic, which means that you have to say something and make a thing and touch. So you have to actually physically touch them. There is a flash of magic. There is like a thing.
Definitely indicative that a spell happens.
A spell has been cast. Exactly. So it's not like you're trying to deceive somebody and you're like, hey, we're all doing good things. Guidance. They'd be like,
wait, what the fuck was that just now?
Yeah, what just happened there?
Oh, now you have guidance on your charm spell. Be like, wait, hold on a second though. What was that? Before you cast a spell, you just cast a spell.
You can't. It's not just an invisible thing that just like goes into you. There's a flash of magic.
But that's what Laura wants, because you know, she starts as a video gamer. This is, you know, second in her life, and you know, but I just loved it. I was sitting there applauding Sam. I was like, well done, buddy. Well done. I never check out chat, but I wish I did at that moment.
Yeah, they were definitely going after it, after Laura and Sam and Matt for not really putting the thing down.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm not shitting on you, Laura. We know you're watching, but I'm not shitting on you. It's just like, no, you got to remember that it's, you know, there are components to this spell that have to be taken into consideration. And, Matt's pretty good at it because he's like, in this situation, I don't think you can guide because you'd have to guide him before he got there, and he's already 30 feet away. You know, and he's really good at it. But this time it was like, Sam, you were like, Laura, come on. Stop trying to cheat. This isn't a game genie, okay? And she's like, yes, it is. Come on, give it to me. We're back into rollies, bro.
Let's do it. I got one.
All right, I'm gonna win one of these days with a 6.
I got a 4.
I got a 5, 7, and a 6, and I finally
got a 4.
win
You're
one.
up.
Damn. Well, I've got a couple of evergreens. I marked those with a little EG. Yeah, the rest, I think I got all the big stuff out of the way. So I guess I'll say, did you know what Matthew's movie reference was before Chetney got hit with that stone skin sigil thing? He said, like, have you guys seen this? You know, and like, I
Yeah,
think everybody
remind
collectively
me.
said no.
What
And then
was
he just said,
that?
like, all right, make a wisdom saving throw, which he later turned to Constitution.
Constitution, because that's what stone to flesh is.
Yeah.
Or
He made a
flesh,
movie
flesh to
reference,
stone.
but I didn't get it.
Yeah, no, neither did I. I don't remember the reference either. I remember thinking I got to look that up, and I forgot. You just reminded me about it. No, I didn't get it.
Huh. Well, there's that one then. One for the ages. Your
Okay.
turn, bud.
If you're listening and you know what it is,
Get in touch. Get in touch.
comment. I'm just looking at my notes here. I kind of
I'm
want
gonna
to talk
blast through
about.
these. We're almost at an hour anyway.
Yeah. I kind of want to talk about a couple of fun things that happened during the last bit of combat as they were. So FCG goes up on the bridge, and then there's all of this stuff going on. There's like it's like, I don't want to really do this. I don't want, and then they're all yelling him, no, go get on the bridge. And that's some like meta stuff that was going on. But then the when the Thought Eater goes, Matt's sort of hovering over the map, and he's looking, and he's like, yeah, the Thought Eater's going to do this, and he's going to do this psychics thing. He's going to smash. He's going to push this thing over and do this thing. And then he's like, oh, yeah, also he's going to just back up a little bit over here. And the look, Travis was just sitting there like, tap, 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 tap. He had like a pen in his hand. He was just like, just fidgeting, and just like, you just see him, and then Matt's like, I'm just going to move there. And the look on, you could just see Travis just sort of, everything drooped. And he's just like, fuck. He's just like, just cursing through his teeth.
What did he see that we didn't see?
So Matt had the Thought Eater floating up, and Chetney was on the ballista to shoot lightning.
Oh.
And Matt moved the Thought Eater and put him right in line with everybody else.
She
put the Thought Eater right in line with everybody, all the rest of the party, Fern and Lutna.
That's what it was.
And it's like, so if Chetney had shot, he would have hit the Thought Eater, but also would have blasted through.
Oh,
The Laura makes the Matt's Chetney's like, Travis was like, yeah, he'd just be backstopping me. I could have got him. I didn't, that was the one place I didn't want him to move. And Matt just didn't say anything, didn't even really acknowledge it.
Nice.
And Laura's like, yeah, wizard's chess. And I'm just like, there's some, this is like that one little trust at the table that they're like really, really clever.
Silent
really
acknowledgement.
Smart. Yeah, an acknowledgement. And that's when, at that moment, the next thing that happens, to even solidify it even more, that's when Laura gets up and walks around the table and gives Travis a whisper.
Oh.
So she gets up and she starts whispering in Travis's ear. And so it's like nobody else even really acknowledges it. They all see it, but they're like, whatever. And Matt just goes over, I respect this. I totally respect this. And it's like, it's because that is another huge example of that the trust that is at that table, where they're like, as a DM, you're like, yeah, but I would know what they're saying. This is my world. I know what's going on.
Right.
But I don't need to, because I know I have trust that what they're going to do is not going to be, it's going to be on board. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a problem. It's not going to be a dilemma that I'm going to have to work through. And it wasn't. It was that she's like, yeah, because we have mental connections. So she gets up and she goes over and talks to Chetney, and she tells him, this happens right at the very, very end. She pulls out the dimension. She grabs Chet, pulls out the scroll, reads dimension door, and they're gone.
Right.
So she tells Chetney basically, I don't know what she said, but she's like,
none of us know.
None of us know. Nobody knows. Only Matt and only Travis and Laura know.
I think Matt was pretty sure, sorry, go ahead. Well,
I think he realized it at that point, but Travis, Imogen is just saying to Chetney, hey, I'm going to walk by, I'm going to grab you, and I'm going to dimension door us into the bridge. Okay. And Chetney's like, okay. And so that's what she did.
Right. Without disrupting what was going on at the table.
Right. Exactly.
And as you're saying, with the trust at the table, like Matthew is seeing this happen. He's like, oh, okay, I think I know what they're doing. Maybe he doesn't know what they're doing, but he does trust that she would never try to do something outside of Matthew's purview.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And he understands that, and it's like, oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. I didn't see that. You know, a lot of times my phone's in my pocket.
It was very, very clever. It was a really quick little boom, boom, bing, bing. It was very, very, very good. I liked it a lot.
Really nice to see that trust at the table once again, and every single fucking time. You know, it's great. It's great to see that kind of stuff. I got a couple more, man. Want to bang them out?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. That was a yes and, right?
Yes, it was.
All right. 15. Hey,
2.
above 10. All right. One of these things that's kind of been going on a lot, and we have kind of talked about it a little bit, when like someone says like where you at? You know, it's like how many, like basically how many HP do you need, or how down are you, you know? And it's like the stickler in me, the strictler in me is like, I guess it's the kind of the DM's decision. It's like, all right, well, make a perception check, and you'd be like, yeah,
Right.
they look like they're this much injured from what you can tell.
Yes.
Instead of giving a number or something like that, because numbers, you know, there's no numbers when you're in the game, but over top of the game, there's numbers. But like there could be a perception check where it's like you can notice how much they, you know, or maybe it's like internal bleeding, so you can't tell, you know. And then like other times there's you don't know, you know. And sometimes players choose to do that and be like, "How hurt are you?" And just be like, "I just went through some shit." And it's like, "Yeah, so how are you doing?" It's like, "You don't know."
Yeah,
like you weren't there.
Liam is really good at that. Travis
and
is pretty good at that.
Taliesin and Liam are excellent at that. They're like, I'm leaving this at the, like, what you see is what you know. And like,
yes, exactly.
I was damaged from like necrotic damage, so like I was bleeding through the nose, but I cleaned it off.
Yeah. Or psychic damage. Yeah.
A psychic. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, so it's like, you don't actually know how many hit points I've lost, but you do know that I'm pretty banged up.
Yeah, or maybe you don't because it doesn't show, right?
I tend to play that way as well. We play my table that I'm a player at. We're all on D&D Beyond.
Oh, so you could actually see it?
4 of us are on D&D Beyond, not the 5th. The one guy plays on paper only. But the rest of us are all on I use my tablet for that campaign, and we actually have a campaign thing. So you can, and it's cool because when we use the digital dice, everybody can see the rolls.
Oh, on D&D Beyond.
And on D&D Beyond, yeah. And then you can see the other people's hit points and all their stuff. You can view their character sheets and see what's going on. So there is a little bit of that going on. I mean, if you choose to hide it, you can do that easily as well. But we don't really care that much about that.
Okay.
Every table is
kind of.
Every table is different, man. It's up to you to decide. It's up to everybody at the table to decide how they want to play these things.
Right.
The problem is, I think what you're getting at is that there is some discrepancies, because some weeks they play one way and then the next week they play another way, and so there can be a little bit of perceived wishy-washiness.
Yeah, and again, you know, I trust them. It's just like, and this has come up multiple times in past episodes. It just came up again in this one because they said it was Imogen. You know, it's like, how are you? And she was like, well, I'm down 30, but I don't have much more than 30. You know,
right.
And it was just right on top of the table, and Matthew was completely fine with it, you know. And it's just like, should you really know that information? And I'm pretty sure Liam and or Taliesin would be like, well, this is what happened to me, so this is what I look like.
Totally.
You know, that's
totally.
So I could go either way. I just wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah, well, it's like every table.
And your
every
opinion.
table is different.
If you have an opinion, get in touch down below.
Yeah. If you do, what do you think? I will sort of yes and on that one with not yes and. I'm just going to talk about something different. I really, really am happy that Sam has decided to use a cleric spell that is
his son.
Yeah, well, that was kind of funny too. But
he's a fucking carbon copy. That kid.
Yeah.
Anyway, with a tinge of Asian.
I'm really happy that Sam decided to fucking learn guiding bolt.
Yeah.
And he called it guiding scream bolt, like an actual legitimate fucking good cleric spell. And I realized something. I'm like, is he just looking for more thematic ways to use those common spells that the other clerics used? Is he just trying to figure out ways like, okay, I I don't want to just say Eldritch Blast or Guiding Bolt or whatever they I used the Toll the Dead. You know, it's like I don't want to use those words. I want to thematically make them in different ways. And it's like, that's what he needs. Maybe that's all he needs to do is if he wants, like the spiritual weapon thing he's been using, but he really should be using spirit guardians as well. So maybe he comes up with a fun way of using of creatively using, because spirit guardian, spiritual weapon, guiding bolt. What's the other cantrip? The one that's the flame one. God damn it. Whatever it is. Yeah. That your new tinfoil hat?
Yeah, the other one wasn't working out.
Okay.
I think it's because everything in the last campaign was named after Widogast. So now he just wants to make sure it's his.
Right, sure. Ownership. Fair enough. Okay, I got nothing left. I think I'm pretty much tapped out.
Okay. I got two tiny little things. You want to
say? Go for it.
Okay. The Greater Restoration. Isn't it $500 worth of diamond dust?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's just 100.
Because I thought I heard 500 first, and I thought I remembered 500 from previous campaigns, and then Matthew at one point said $100 worth of diamond dust. I'm like, I don't think that's enough for Greater Restoration, because Greater is a huge spell, you know.
100 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. Okay. Diamond dust worth at least 100 GP. Yeah, it's a 5th level spell. So it's just the fact that it's a 5th level spell.
Maybe that's where the 5 came in my head.
I mean, they only have 1 or 2 of them at this level. I think maybe just 1. Yeah. So it's
Which was curious because Matthew said like I could say that you had the foresight to get $500 worth. Maybe that's also where it came into.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like there's been some downtime. You had time to actually go and do these things. So we'll retcon that. It's all good. You would have had the foresight to do it. It's
It's part of
especially with the break.
Short rests and long rests, it's like you take your shits, and you take your pisses during these times, and like you have your little snacks and stuff. It's like some things you don't have to talk about. It's like we got our things. And one last little one, I just love the way that Liam watches Laura roll her dice, because he helps her because she's got so many fucking dice in there. Yeah, and I know in campaign 1 at least, Liam was sitting there with he had his dice tray with a bunch of dice on the outside, and he had like this tiny little space to roll his dice. Yeah. And Laura at one point said like, "Get those dice out of there so we can see what you're rolling, because if it's surrounded by D6s and you're rolling D6s, how do you know which one's which?" And then Liam's sitting there and like she rolls and he's like, "God, how do you know which one's which?" And he's watching though, and he's like, "No, this one, no, that was not one of them. This is one." Yeah. It's just it's cute, it's sweet, the twinnies.
The twins. Yeah, the twins. Yep.
That's all. I just thought that was sweet.
All right.
A couple of sweet people, in particular Liam. We know you're watching.
We're well over an hour here. We should wrap this up.
Yeah, well over. Jeez. It's funny how that
Told
goes.
you. Told you.
That's never an issue. Jeez. All right, well then, let's wrap this up. How do we do this, man? It's been 3 years.
I don't know, man. We may not have another one for a while, so we're gonna have to remember it all over again.
Yep. Well, hey, man, I don't have anything to promote because we don't have any shows coming up, and my guitarist has a new baby boy coming along, so like he's gonna be busy. So just check out the album, man. ShapeMaster. It's on all streaming platforms. It's in the not comments. The what do you call that shit? The info.
Yes.
The yes.
The yes.
Yes. Best way to get in touch with us is in these comments right here. I don't remember the last time I checked our email for this.
No, I don't know. It does exist.
Yeah, there might be something in there. And if there is something in there, the best way to let us know is get in touch in the comments.
In these comments right there.
So if we get
we do really like, if you've made it this far, we do really like hearing from you. So follow, subscribe, join, friend, good people. Yes. Thumbs up.
All positive words. Yes. Follow him. He on all platforms is Ben Greenscrew. Ben.
That's me. Ben Greenscrew
from Taiwan, Taiwan. Wait. Ben Greenspoon on all socials. I'm drummatucka. Follow me for band updates. I might be playing in your city sometime soon. I just said that we wouldn't be. So come to Taichung and watch my band play, or just check out my videos on there and get in touch with me there too. Yeah, we might not see you guys for
another few weeks.
Yeah,
I'll be in Thailand, so I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if nothing else, is that
All
the
good,
next
bro.
step?
Yep.
Jeez, it's funny how quickly you forget these things, right? If nothing else, don't forget to love y'all others. Is it finally some Friday in the future?
Something.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, everybody.
Take care, Benji.
Yep.
Can I call you Benji? That's a no.
You just did.
Take care, Ben.
Peace, brother.
Your name's Ben G.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I know.
You must have gotten it.
Oh, a couple of times.
All right. Take care, buddy. Peace.
All right, bud. Peace, everybody.